Okay, let's go.
Well, hello. Happy Tuesday. You're probably wondering, is this really happening? Did we fake you out? Because it took us a while. We're just working through some technical issues on our side. So please forgive the delay. And hopefully, we'll have a few of you guys joining in shortly. But super glad to be here on Tuesday. Always love our Let's Talk Tuesdays together. So we have a lot to cover tonight, and I'm really, really excited to welcome two people, I believe two people, but we're going to start with someone who I just love. He's one of my favorite people in the world, and I've known him for a lot of years. I had the privilege of working with him on a couple of different films, and he is going to talk all things ICVM. And it seems like ICVM is one of the conferences that you guys maybe don't know a ton about. So I thought it would be great to have him join us so that we could talk about and give you a little bit more information about ICVM and what we're going to be doing specifically coming up October 9th through 12th, and it will be at the Hyatt Regency Dulles Airport in Herndon, Virginia, which is outside of Washington, D.C. So please welcome my wonderful, dear, incredible friend, Paul Sermons, to our Let's Talk Tuesday. How are you? Yay! I know I need audience sounds going.
I can do my own. Woo, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. It's so good to see you. Anytime I get to spend with you in person or virtually is a joy. And of course, your sweet wife, Sherry, too. So
Absolutely.
it's great. And
when we first worked together, I think was the movie Home Run, which I don't even know we knew we both worked on that.
I know. Yeah.
On that. And in Oklahoma, we shot that in Tulsa.
Yeah. I kind of, to be honest, I sort of forget about that one just because it was enough years ago, but I loved that shoot. And I remember our DP on that shoot was all about natural lighting. Remember, he didn't set up a ton of lights. He was all about like bounce and using the natural light in a room. And so it was interesting to watch him work on that one.
Well, the director was the director of photography on Friday Night Lights.
That's what now I remember.
Long lenses that compressed so we do like over shoulders, but the camera would be 50 feet behind the actor in one direction and 50 feet behind the other with these long lenses on them to compress. It was a really unique look. And that's how Friday Night Lights, what made it look so different from other shows. So yeah.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes, I totally. Now you're jogging my memory. I haven't revisited that show in a long time, so you're definitely jogging my memory. Yeah, that was cool because it was one of the ones that I was able to go and visit set for, and remember being in what was our main character's condo, and just he had it just really lit up. Not lit up. He had it was all naturally lit, but it looked beautiful and very organic. But of course, that's Friday Night Lights, so that makes total sense now that you remind me of that.
Exactly. Poster for it, right?
Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, I haven't kept up with Scott, who was our lead actor. I'll have to look up and see what he's up to these days. He was one of those guys that was acting and did sports and modeling and I think racing or, many other things. So I'm sure that he has kept himself busy, but Scott Elrod.
Yes, he did a great job too.
He did. Now, see, you're making me think I got to go back and figure out where Scott is and how he's doing. Yes. Hopefully he's doing well. Well, we have some of our Tuesday night family joining us. Jared Hernandez says, he's providing the audience sounds. And then Adam Thayer, who, are so faithful and ICVM, we've had some great at that same. Oh, it was actually ICFF at that Starbucks that you and I had that great conversation in. I also met with Adam that same year, but Adam, you're always so faithful and we appreciate you. Kathy and Ulysses and Stephanie and Charles and Jim. I know we started a little bit late because we were working out some things on our side, but I am excited. I've actually wanted to have you come talk with us for a long time, Paul, and I definitely want to have a chance to talk all things film and just your work in general. And if we don't get to do that tonight, we'll plan a different time because you guys, this man is a plethora of information and experience. At one point, you ran the Florida Film Office. Is that what you did?
The state film commissioner for Florida when Jeb Bush was governor, and wrote
Wow.
for the incentive program. So I know a lot about incentives and that kind of thing too. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so helpful. Hi, Emily and Gigi and MJ. Good little, our peeps are coming in now that they realize we didn't psych them out and fake them out, that we're actually here tonight.
Awesome.
So glad to see you guys. So one of the reasons, or the most important reason right now that I wanted to have you with us, Paul, is to talk all things ICVM. So ICVM stands for International Christian
Visual Media Association.
Okay, there you go.
Not Intercontinental Ballistic Missiles. It's ICVM. International Christian Visual Media Association.
There you go.
52 years, believe it or not. And
wow.
we do the Crown Awards every year, which we used to give at the conference, and now they're presented on the main stage at NRB, which gives the winners of the Crown Awards a lot more exposure because that's where 5,000 of the top radio and TV and film people are. So professional. So we also do the ICVM Storytellers Conference, which, as you said, is coming up October 9th to 12th. And for all of your fans that are out there, I want them to know that you're going to be there. You're going to do something that you started last year, which was so incredibly popular and wonderful, not just for actors, but for all the attendees. And I'll tell you why. On Friday, which is October 11th, we do a 2-hour event with Beverly called the Monologue Workshop. Beverly Holloway's Actors Monologue Workshop. Okay,
there you go. The official title.
That's right. And there is a place to sign up on after you register for the conference, and there are 20 slots there. Unfortunately, all 20 are already full. That's how popular you are. I mean, it's only been up there for we are 3 weeks away from the conference, and 20 actors have nailed those because they probably knew how great it worked last year. That doesn't mean that you can't hear more monologues, because indeed last year you had extra time and you reached out and pulled people out of the audience that you knew were prepared to present a monologue, brought them up, and they got to prepare theirs. The great thing about this, and why this is such a great opportunity, is that not only can anybody be in the room watching these monologues happen, but you pick the 5 best that you feel are the best. And Saturday, October 12th at lunch with all of our producers and directors there, and we had 350 people at the last conference, in the lunchroom, you bring up those 5 on stage, introduce them, and each one gets to do their monologue in front of distributors, producers, directors, other actors. It's just a great opportunity.
It is a great opportunity. And not only just as an actor to keep those muscles going and, get a little bit of the nerves because you're in a big room with 350 people. So from the actor standpoint, it's just an invigorating opportunity. But you and I have talked for a couple of years about how do we get the actors and the producers, directors, how do we bridge that gap? Because the workshops, there's kind of a lane that's programmed for the actors, and there's a lane program for producers or directors or distributors. And the challenge was, how do we bring exposure of each to the other? And so I love how this worked last year, and being able to provide that opportunity. And yes, there's 5 people that perform at that lunch, but what I think happens is that it is reminding the directors and producers in the room that there is this whole wonderful group of talented actors who are at the conference. It's reminding them, oh, that's right, this isn't just distributors or just, producers. The actors are present, to where there's a little bit more of an awareness, and hopefully then a little bit more of a connection that way, because we're just building those cross communication. And so I had several people come up to me last year and tell me that they were producers and directors, and tell me they just loved watching the actors perform and loved that opportunity. So I'm really, really excited to do that. And then I love Grace Covington says, hi, Bev and Paul. I went to ICVM last year and it was life-changing. So
Wow.
yes. So Grace, I love that. And Grace, I was just watching. Grace is a wonderfully talented actress, but also very talented singer, worship leader. And she just posted some of her leading worship on her social media page. And Grace, it was beautiful, and what a sweet spirit. And I just love that you're allowing yourself to be used by God, and trust me, he is using you. So I'm glad ICVM was great for you last year. And I think it was your first time, right, Grace? Being there, if I remember right. Cheryl McKay is on here. Cheryl McKay Price is on here, says she loved ICVM.
She actually did a workshop at it too, and
exactly.
was talking about this very TV show I think you're going to talk about later on.
Exactly. She said it was very impactful on relationship building for distribution for these stones. So, and here we are. That's one of the fun things, is kind of seeing now where that show went, and now it's coming out. And in a few minutes, we get to talk to Susan about the show more specifically. But so ICVM, when we do the actors monologue showcase, anyone can be in the room. And so the goal is, not only can it mean that actors or directors or producers can sit in and watch the performances, and we had several who opted to do that last year, and we're watching specifically to see the actors performing, which is great. But other actors are in, and when we give feedback, our goal is that it be informational and educational for everyone in the room, knowing that there isn't enough time for everyone to be able to perform. But yes, we will make use of the 2 hours we have. And if we get through the 20 that are signed up and we have more time, we'll certainly, maybe we create a wait list that we can maybe go down. We'll figure the mechanics of that out that day. But we'll definitely make use of the full 2 hours. So tell me why you and the rest of your team, there's a wonderful volunteer team that works to keep ICVM going. Why have you found this so important, and why have you chosen to pour so much of yourself into this specific conference?
Wow, great question. We're an all volunteer nonprofit, so we all do this from our hearts. We're not trying to get people to come to make money. This organization has, for 52 years of its existence, survived literally from year to year. And when they asked me to be, I was on the board for like the last 9 years, I think, and they asked me to be the president 4 years ago, I prayed about it. And the answer I got back was pretty clear, that we needed to do more. We needed to help more people. We needed to build the networking between actors and directors and writers, and encourage them and give them the networking and the education and the tools that they need to make not just more pictures, but better pictures.
Mm.
And
Yep. Amen, brother. Amen.
if you look at the films that have been coming out, they are getting better,
Yes.
in our
Mhm.
genre, they are getting better, whether
Yeah.
they're on point Christian films or whether they're, kind of a hidden message Christian film.
Yeah.
They're both needed, and they're all kind of getting better, and there's more of them out there. It's like I think it was back in April or May. I looked up all the Christian films that were coming out between then and the end of the year, and there was literally, on average, more than one a week. And
Wow.
it was like,
Wow.
I had no idea. And when I
Right.
told people, nobody else knew either. It was like, you're kidding. We're doing that much, but
Yeah.
and some of them are doing well. The Forge, which, if you people listening don't know, this lady right here was the casting director for, and
Yeah.
it is a brilliant, wonderful movie. If you haven't seen it, see it in a theater.
Yeah.
It features Cameron Arnett and BJ Arnett, his wife, and the rest of the cast is wonderful too.
Yeah.
But I have a partiality to those two because Cameron is on our board for ICM. And another event we're going to be doing at the Storytellers Conference on Saturday morning, I believe it's Saturday morning at 9:00. We're going to have 45 minutes with them on stage. No other seminars happening. So this is for actors and directors and producers. Everybody come in, and 45 minutes, they're going to talk about being a married couple in this business and use the Forge as an example. If you know Cameron, you may have sat in on some of his great presentations about Christ over career. That's his thing, And I talked to him, I said, well, I want you to make it Christ in your marriage over career. And he's like, I love it, Paul. Okay.
Yeah, he would be all about that. He and BJ. I've seen them a little more frequently doing some pieces together, and I love that perspective. And they're so cute with each other as far as like the back and forth and their little repartee. And so that'll be great. So that's Saturday morning then, right?
That's going to be Saturday morning from 9 to 10 before the Christian film market, So
yes.
If anybody listening has a finished Christian film, you don't have distribution, we have a 2-hour event. We have over 20 distributors looking for finished product. It doesn't have to be brand new. It can be something, as long as you have the rights to it, you can sign up. You pick the distributors you want to meet with. The day before, we have a script and story pitch-a-thon that's 2 hours. It's at the same time as your event.
Yes, I've had a few actors. Yes.
But I did find a couple actors that said, I have to go do that.
Yes. And I always work with them. It's like, we'll get you in when you're free. We'll make it work, because I don't want anyone to miss that opportunity either. And I want to encourage you guys. So you can go to ICVM, V as in visual. So International Christian Visual Media. So ICVM.com. And you can see all the information and more specifics about the conference as a whole. So it's October 9th through 12th. And it's just outside of Washington, D.C., right? In Herndon.
You fly into Dulles Airport, and there's a shuttle there to the hotel. It's 1 mile from the airport, I think. So it's
perfect.
Okay. You can see Dulles. So you don't have to rent a car, nothing, if you fly into Dulles. So
yeah, and you're not in the traffic and sort of intensity that is Washington, D.C. either. We kind of will have our own little world over there, which is great. And I would encourage you guys to just check out everything that they offer. Paul, you have built and created what I think is one of the most practical and hands-on and really helpful conferences from a standpoint of making connections that will make a difference, that can make a very real difference in a project or in a story or in relationships. But at the same time, there's worship, there's prayer, there's encouragement, there's being challenged. Like, we get it all. So I I want to encourage you guys to go to icvm.com, get more information about the conference. I would love to see you there. I'm always happy to see our Let's Talk Tuesday family at these events for sure. So that should give you.
We're going to be screening 4 movies.
Oh, yeah. What are the 4 movies you're screening?
We've got Between Borders on Wednesday night. Thursday night, we're showing The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, Dallas Jenkins film.
Yep.
Friday night, we're showing Bonhoeffer.
Which interesting.
An awesome film, everything I hear about it. And then Saturday night, or Saturday afternoon, we're actually screening a documentary about the North Georgia revivals and the healings, the miracle healings that are going on there. And I believe the pastor from the church where all these healings are happening is going to be there. And we're talking about possibly using the pool if anybody wants to
be baptized.
Be baptized.
That's amazing.
Or be healed. Going. It's exciting. And then we announce our finalists for the Crown Awards at our final dinner. And after that, we're going to have a Christmas in October party. So
I didn't know about that. That's fun. I love it. I love it.
Nice to have like a wrap party that's Christmas themed, because we got several pictures in the coming out that are Christmas themed. So it'd be a little fun. We'll have some colored lights, nativity scene, and some food and drink, but it'll be nice.
I love it. Well, I haven't seen Beyond Borders yet. I worked on it, but I haven't seen it. So I'm looking forward. Between Borders.
They originally called it Beyond Borders, and then they found out Angelina Jolie did a movie.
I didn't even know it had changed. Look at me. I worked on it, and I didn't even know it had changed. Okay.
Well, Sherry, my wife, had worked on the original Beyond Borders. That's how we actually thought. I said, there's a movie called that. And they went,
oh, bummer. Okay. Well, you guys check it out. Jenny, it looks like, someone gave you the correct information. ICV as in Victor M. ICVM.com. Yes. Love you, Paul. Please give your sweet wife, Sherry, a huge hug and kiss for me. And you guys go check. It's just one of the most wonderful conferences. You'll be challenged, you'll be encouraged, you'll be spiritually uplifted, but professionally uplifted. And so much practical knowledge and relationships are built there. So can't wait to see some of you with us. And Paul, thanks for all your work and everything that you do.
For actors specifically, our events for actors are mostly on that Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
And I know, money's tight, and, and sometimes they have to work during the week. So if they can only come for 2 days, that's the 2 days for them to be there, because then they get your event, they get Camille and BJ's event. So
and then the performance at lunchtime on Saturday. So that's good. So focus if you're not able to go the full time, focus your efforts on Friday and Saturday. Those will be the 2 primary days for the actors. But there's so much to learn even on the other days, and the Lion's Den. I want to sit in on that because I want to learn how to pitch projects, and, how do you talk to investor groups to get, a project through, and what are they looking for? And man, I have so much I want to learn as well. So the website is on the screen, and thank you, Paul. Love you. And I'll see you in a few weeks.
Keep up the great work. We miss you. We love you. God bless.
Okay. See you soon. Awesome. Well, you guys, I really want to encourage you to check out that website. Paul, their whole team they're just wonderful people who, like he said, give of their time to make a really great conference, and their whole thing is geared towards your experience and learning and growing and being challenged and being loved on, all of it. So I hope you'll check that out. And I would love to see you, any of our Tuesday night family. I'd love to see you there as well. So, all right, next, I'm super excited. Oh, I just yelled. Sorry, that was loud. I'm super excited to bring on Susan Rohrer, who, a few weeks ago we talked to, Cheryl McKay Price, who was the writer showrunner of These Stones, and she talked about the series and kind of how it got started. And then we talked to the actors and spoke with them about how they approached their characters and what they responded to in the script. So tonight we get the joy of talking to the director. And I know that she also contributed in some cases to the writing as well. So I want you guys to get your questions ready. If you've had questions to directors about what they're looking for or how they approach their process or what is most valuable to them in actors, please, I'll monitor your questions, but so that we can get the wisdom of the very talented and very wonderful Susan Rohrer. So let's welcome her in.
Hi, Beverly.
You. So good to see you. Look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. It was really a joy for me to overhear the conversation you just had with Paul. I mean, what a lovely event that is, and how valuable to everybody. So I hope everybody will check that out.
Well, it's amazing to me when I get to talk to people like you and Paul, just the experience you have. You know, me being in the casting world, I have my own POV on the process, right? But I love getting to hear from you guys who are, I guess, kind of multi-hyphenates, right? You've done several different things within the industry, but most specifically or most recently, These Stones, which is now playing on Up TV, or Up Faith and Family. And you,
right.
I think we had a discount code before, which it was Stones 30.
We do.
Is that right?
Yeah, Stones 30. Yes, capital STONES and the number 30 to get 30% off of your first month's subscription to Up.
Great. Perfect. Cheryl has it. Cheryl McKay Price is with us, and she posted that in the comments. So if you guys want to make note of that, that would give you 30% off your first month subscription to Up Faith and Family. And in addition to These Stones, there's a lot of other great content on that platform as well. So it is a great opportunity to see some other filmmakers' content, but most importantly, to check out These Stones. And so tell us, I know Cheryl shared when she was with us a couple weeks ago that you were a mentor to her early on, years ago. So how did the two of you meet? Remind me how you guys met.
Well, years ago, when Cheryl was 15 years old, she had sent me a letter after seeing a show that I did for CBS, and it came on this notebook paper that was ripped out of a spiral notebook, so it had all this confetti down the side of it, and it was so cute, and it just said, you know, I saw this show, which was Never Say Goodbye, and she wanted to know how I did what I did. She wanted to learn that, and I just thought, you know what, I want to respond to her. I want to know this girl. And so I responded to her, and we, over the years, developed a relationship. She eventually came to work at the production company where I was at the time. And out of that, a friendship and a collaboration was birthed, so that we were, you know, showing each other our scripts over the years. And These Stones has given us an opportunity to work together finally. Officially.
I love that. I remember when Cheryl first called me about it and told me about the fact that you were doing it, and she shared why that meant so much to her, that you were who she was working with and partnering with to bring it to life. And I could just tell her love and respect for you, and hearing you talk about her. You must be so proud of just the little 15-year-old and where she's gone. So what a lovely dynamic you guys have.
Well, and it's something like what These Stones is all about, right? You know, we had the, you know, the 10 Commandments, and then Jesus distilled it down to just two things: love God and love each other as you love yourself. That means we take care of each other, we help each other, and that's what These Stones is about reaching out in love. And what you find out, you know, you're trying to bless that other person, and you're trying to help them grow, but actually you find out that it's a blessing to you too.
So true.
To do that,
so true.
And it sure has been a blessing in me to know Cheryl.
Yeah, I bet. God, I love that that's the way God designed it, right? He tells us to love others and to serve others. And through doing that, we end up getting fed and loved and served. And God's he's so smart that way. So These Stones. Go ahead.
But These Stones is just to sum it up for people who aren't familiar with it and haven't seen it yet. It's about a young woman who her mother has died, and then suddenly she gets drawn into this supernatural program where she's paired up with Bible people to help other people out there. And she's heard about this from her mother, but she wasn't really sure, you know, that it was anything more than delusion.
Right.
But ultimately what the show is about inviting people into the kind of interactive relationship with God and His Word that God wants with all of us. It's an allegory, the way we've done it, but that's what it's all about, is just demonstrating the answer to some questions like, what if our quiet times weren't so quiet? What if God spoke to us and interacted with us just like the Bible says He will? And so that it's like putting the Bible on its feet in a way that is that people can understand. Oh, I can relate to the Bible. It's not so complicated. It's something, you know, God does speak to me. He can speak to me through the Bible, through other people, through circumstances He orchestrates in my life.
Yeah, I love that it's set in modern day, that it's current, because I think the more we can make the messages of the Bible, the characters of the Bible, the people of the Bible, the more we can understand that they were just like us. They were human. And at the core, we experience the same kinds of emotions: loss and grief and joy and confusion and, you know, intrigue. Like they did, we do. It's really not as disconnected as sometimes we may perceive it to be. So I love that you guys made the choice to bring it modern day, current day. And so tell me a little bit about how it was for you as the director. As you looked at the script, there's some hard concepts to create a visual for, which is namely these otherworldly, like these biblical characters, or the Karen Abercrombie character, you know, who's communicating with the Madeleine Carroll character. How did you grasp that bridge of bringing the quote unquote supernatural or the spiritual into a modern day sensibility?
Well, for me, it starts with an understanding that the supernatural realm exists in the here and now. It's not like I'm bringing something in for the first time. I'm just
Mm.
acknowledging what is true, that there is a spiritual realm out there, and depicting it in the way that we've seen it unfold in our lives. Cheryl has, I have, many other people have, where we've seen God come in, and we've encountered God in ways that are what I'll call naturally supernatural.
Yes.
It's,
Okay.
you see these big whiz bang movies, but when it happens in your life, you realize, oh, okay, this is how God moves.
Yes.
And it's not sci-fi. It's just opening a door to a realm that already exists. We're just not always aware of it.
That's so interesting. I honestly have never thought about it like that you really were just connecting. I mean, we all talk about God's protection or his angels or, hearing the voice of God or sensing the Holy Spirit. Like we talk about the spiritual realm in very real, everyday terms in our lives. So I love that you're basically saying we're just exploring what is already present. What an interesting way to kind of approach it. I love that. I really love that. So when it comes to the working with actors, what's your favorite part of working with actors?
Oh, everything. I love actors. I do. I love every part of this process. I love working with Cheryl on the scripts. I love working with you and getting ready for the casting. Every part of it is such a joy to me. But the actors, they have my heart, and and so it's such a joy to connect people on the deep levels that can exist between an actor and a director.
Yeah. You and I both, like if we didn't love actors, then we shouldn't be doing what we're doing, right? Because I mean, there's so much a part of what we do, and such a key part of it. So when you kind of how you have the series, which was 5 episodes, this first season is 5 episodes, 6 episodes.
6 episodes.
Yeah.
That's right,
Different
6.
series was 5 episodes. Yeah. I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Do you, when you're planning that out, are you approaching each one like its own little movie? Are you also at the same time mapping the whole series, especially with regards to how you're working with the actors and kind of getting continuity from one episode to the other? For example, Madeline's character, she's our main character who it's her journey that we're traveling along, and her experiences. So what is that like as far as planning one episode versus a whole series, as far as setting your goals and how you approach it mechanically?
Well, actually, Cheryl did all the heavy lifting in that department when it came to mapping out the series and how everything was going to go. And she even got into the weeds of scheduling this whole thing. We ended up shooting it kind of like you would shoot a movie because of budgetary, location restrictions, actor restrictions. We ended up shooting it. We'd go to one location, shoot that out, and go to the next. So we were out of order, and that's where another person, because it does take a village, another person came in really handy, which is our script supervisor. Who is very helpful in making sure that the person doesn't actually, years ago, I remember we shot another thing out of order that I wasn't involved with the mapping out of it. I was just directing, and they had somebody show up with a broken arm before they'd broken their arm in the story. And so you really need people who are on that kind of detail to make sure that everything comes off at the right timing. But and Cheryl and Sarah, our script supervisor, did a great job at that.
I
It really
know.
does take a team.
It really, honestly, and man, working with Cheryl, as we were even just my little portion, and with my associate Jack, and working on the casting side, the amount of information that was in Cheryl's brain, like every piece of minutia. So when you say, when you talk about like she did the heavy lifting, I believe. Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, computer-like brain. It's more like a mainframe from NASA or something. It just always amazed me how quick she is and how she thinks of everything. If I don't have to worry about it, like if I forget something, she'll remember. She'll know.
Yeah. So what is your process with the actors before you start shooting? So do you have a phone call with them? Do you talk story? Like, what is your process for getting everybody sort of ready and prepared for day one?
Well, for me, it started months before.
Okay.
And in the process of because I was involved with Cheryl. I mean, Cheryl originated all the scripts, and then except the last one that we co-wrote, and then I would come in after and work at the polishing stage. Mm-hmm. And so I got to know the characters really well. But then as soon as we started going into prep, I started drilling down on who the characters were, because I have to know them before I get on the set. Mm-hmm. And it's not just a matter of what's on the page. I have to know them on deep levels. Mm-hmm. And so I broke that down, what all the ways, the same ways the actors will break it down. And I break it down so that I can know them before they come to the set. But also I did reach out to every actor, even the ones, that were in the smaller roles, just to reach out to them ahead of time and talk to them about the character and about their thoughts. And anything that I've developed, I figure I'm there kind of as a safety net. Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm telling them how to play the character, but I'm there with ideas, and hopefully to help them to do their best work, and to create an environment where they can.
That's hugely important, because creating an environment where they can do their best work is vitally important. How collaborative is it? So obviously you know who these characters are, and you've made decisions about kind of their core being and their goals and how it all fits together. How open are you, or how do you handle the collaboration process? Because you had a lot of cast members who have a lot of experience, so I'm sure I can imagine that they came to the table with some of their own thoughts and ideas. So how is that collaboration process for you?
Well, I'm very, very open. Like I say, when I break down the characters and I get to know them before I even, before we started working together on casting, I had already broken them all down. Yeah. But I don't force that on them. It's what I'd love to see is what they are going to bring to it first. Mm-hmm. And then, kind of shape it from there. But I am trying, because I'm working with an entire cast, not just one person. It is a matter of making sure that everything meshes and balances with the whole overall story. And so I'm there to listen and to for me it's a very spiritual process.
Mm.
You know, the
And
Bible talks about acknowledging God in all your ways, and He's going to direct your paths. Well, He's going to direct the path. He's the director.
Mm.
I'm partnering with Him, but I'm taking my cues the best I can. I don't always get it right, but I'm trying the best I can to take my cues off of Him, because sometimes you just never know what's going to happen,
right.
and what this actor will need to hear that will help trigger something that's going to work for them.
Yeah.
And the caliber of the cast that we had, for some people, they just brought it. And when somebody brings it like that, and it's just so alive, I don't feel any obligation to put my mark on it or to make it my, I'd rather just nurture that person and have it come from them.
Yeah.
And somebody who helped me out when I was early in my directing career said to me, "You don't put your foot through a Rembrandt." And what he meant by that is, if it's gorgeous, just let it be.
Yeah, just give it good lighting and make sure it gets highlighted, right? That's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and Aaron Bethea, who plays Drea in episode 3, which is coming out this Thursday,
right?
Which is Cheryl's personal story. So please, everybody, watch that. But when in my phone call with her, she said, don't be afraid if I'm getting off base or off track, or don't be afraid to give me notes. And I said, I won't be, but if you're bringing it, and if I'm loving what you're doing, I'm going to just let you run with it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of episode 3, which again, we talked a little bit about this when we talked with Cheryl, but did you approach that one because it was kind of derived or had pieces of Cheryl's own story? Did you approach how you worked on that episode, or the way you looked at that episode any differently? Did it affect you any differently? Having such a personal connection?
Well, Cheryl and I went through those years together.
Yes.
Those difficult years, the whole struggle together. And so yeah, it did have a very, very deep personal effect on me. And I was so grateful that our producers allowed us together to tell the story, because it's not Christian light. It's not, the stylized version of the way you wish life was. And the way you wish the walk of faith was, where, it's like you say, God, I want it to be this way. And of course, when we're planning, it's all perfect. We don't hit those bumps in the road. We don't encounter difficulty. We don't plan on that. And so for me, the opportunity to tell a story of how the life of faith really is, and what it means to trust God through those times, that was really, really special for me. And I think all the actors who worked on it.
Yes, yeah, because of course, I'm sure that it was powerful and will be, as people get to see that episode. And I love that God waited to have Cheryl tap into that part of her life until the two of you could be the ones to tell it. I think that's just beautiful. And even God's comfort and protection and love and care. I just think that's a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Do you have any sort of stories or experiences from the filming that stand out to you, or any God moments that come to mind from the shooting of the series?
Just that I always, in the series itself, you know, there were twists and turns and bumps and, you know, challenges. I had a friend who said to me before it started, before I was brought on to direct, he said, you know, this is going to be great, but it's going to be really difficult too.
Yeah.
And time after time, as I just walked with him through it, he was just there. I always felt his love. I always felt his support. You know.
Yeah. That's
he
amazing.
Gave me everything I need, including a beautiful cast.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't have asked for more. So thank you, Beverly.
Oh,
the people you found and
well, yeah, and I worked, you know, Jack Kelly was very much a part of the process on this one, and grateful for him as well. Yeah, he's wonderful, isn't he? So there are people who have some questions. I'd love to ask you if you're okay and have a couple more minutes. Jenny asked, let's see. She asked, what do you look for in an age range with actors? And I think, Jenny, what you might be asking is like, it's more about how they play than the actual age, right? So it's a matter of if they can inhabit the age that you're looking for, like Karen Abercrombie, right? She played Clara in War Room, played much older than herself. And so your thoughts on, I get a lot of questions from women who are working on embracing their real age. And so what would you say for women who are growing older, you know, and are entering a new phase and maybe struggling with accepting this? They're out of the mom phase and they're into the grandma phase, but they maybe aren't quite ready to be in the grandma phase. What would you say to actors who are just struggling with that part of it?
Yeah, it's just that if it's yours, it's gonna come to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, sometimes, and I as a part of developing myself as a director, I became an actor myself. So I would know what it feels like to wonder why I didn't get it, or why you know, when something was going to come through for me, or what it's like to go through all the paces that actors have to put themselves through. And this is one of them. It's just wondering why, when you feel like you nailed the audition or whatever, and it just didn't come through you. And one of the things we think is, well, I guess I was the wrong age, or you know, they didn't like the fact that I have gray in my hair now, or whatever it is. But I think what happens sometimes, and I've seen it happen a number of times through the casting process on the things I've worked on, is that somebody will come on and they're not the age that you thought you wanted. They don't look like what you thought you wanted. You didn't, you know, you were expecting something completely different, and they have qualities. There's something about them. And what I look for goes beyond the physicality. I look for life. I don't look for a person who is like technically, just getting all the lines right and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
We as actors worry about. Oh, when I paused here, or I shouldn't have done this or that. It's more. I'm just looking for life. One time I saw years ago a bunch of men auditioning for the part of a judge, and all these men went through, and they were just terrific, and they were all different shapes and sizes and ages, and they all did a good job. And then at the end, I got up there, and this was talking, and he started scratching his nose like this, and the producer said, "Hire him. It's the first natural thing I've seen all day." It was lifelike.
Yes.
Because he wasn't worried about. He wasn't in his head about anything. He was just living in it. That's what I'm looking for. Is somebody who is not acting. In fact, acting is kind of a misnomer in a way to me. I just want to see somebody who is living in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and I think that is an encouragement. Now, on what we're not saying is, if you're 60, just go ahead and submit for the 40-year-old roles. Like, there is some structure to the casting process and the way we do things. But if it's 60 and you're 70, but you understand the essence of the character, you feel like you really have something unique and compelling to bring to the character, then go for it. Go for it. Because chances are the 60 number is not like you said, the secret sauce. That's not what's really the most compelling part about the character. And so, yes, I think you don't have to feel quite so rigid about the age issue, but you do need to be realistic about where you are in your life and what you play, and what part. I always want to say, embrace where you are, embrace the stage you're in, be grateful that you're aging, right? Because there are those who don't get that privilege and that joy. So but age can be a tricky thing. Okay, Richard Zarang, Susan, how strict are you with an actor sticking to script and allowing improv?
Well, it depends. With Cher, it's funny with these stones. It wasn't a matter of allowing or disallowing improv, but we just didn't have actors asking for it. There were the scripts were developed to the point that that everybody pretty much went with what was there. But I think that there are times when improv can help piece, and there are times when it can derail the other actor who's in the scene. Yeah. So I, that's one place we keep an eye on that. If somebody improvs something that's good, if somebody comes up with a line that's better than read it, it's like, okay, great.
Right.
I run those kinds of things by Cheryl because, she's the head writer. But generally in these zones, it's pretty much straight along with the script. Yeah. Not because we were enforcing it or policing it. That's how it went. Yeah.
And I love that you point that out, that it's not just a solo act. You're working in collaboration with other actors in most cases, unless you're doing a solo monologue in a given scene. But in most cases, you're working with other actors. And so you have to be careful to be respectful of their process too. If they're not someone who feels compelled to go off script, or who really has embraced the script the way it is, and then you're sort of forcing them into a different path, that's actually not a good, respectful thing to do for that partnership. So keep that in mind, you guys, actors, as you think about the improv process and when it's appropriate and when it's not. And I would generally make sure that you, like Susan was saying, like ask or talk to Cheryl. You know, you had the writer right there on set. Double check before you just sort of spring it on somebody, unless that kind of environment has already been established. I would just be careful. You don't want to be disrespectful to the other actors. Okay, Charles Babler says, what was your calling? Why did you feel called to direct this series? And what was your vision for the audience? And I think maybe what he's saying is, what are you hoping the audience takes away from it?
Oh, well, thank you, Charles. I'll start with your second question. What I'm hoping that the audience takes away from this is that we're not alone. You're not alone. I'm not alone. We're all together working on this. And bit by bit, you know, we walk through life in the company of other people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the big takeaway that we hope people understand. They're not alone as far as other people are concerned, and that God never leaves them alone. He's always there.
Yeah.
And Charles, I forgot the first part of your question.
Oh, it was, why did you feel called to direct this? Because Cheryl could have said, hey, Susan, will you do this? And you could have said, you know what, I don't feel like it's my thing to direct. What made you feel like it was the right piece for you to direct?
Well, in this case, I mean, honestly, I left it up to Cheryl because I knew, you know, I knew what that if, you know, if God had this for me, it would come to me. I wasn't going to have to force my way into it. I knew that there were other people, you know, that could have been chosen for this. And I told Cheryl in the beginning, I said, you know what, you need to forget about all of our years of friendship. You need to forget about the fact that, you know, that I've worked thus far on it. And you need to stand back and make your best decision. Look at the people that are available to you, and you need to decide, completely separate from our relationship, who is going to be the best person.
Yeah.
You know, in this circumstance, who do I think should be directing it? And I said there will be no hard feelings either way. And she ultimately chose me. And I figured, you know, when I let it go like that to her,
right?
I figured, you know, if God had it for me, it'll come back to me. I was not going to have to push it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
Indeed, it did. So.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful example of exactly what you were saying, which is love God, love others. In that case, you loved her enough to say, hey, I want you to make the very best decision for this project and for you. And, you know, I'll trust you with that. And that was a very loving thing to do, and giving her that room. But ultimately, God had a plan in mind for both of you. So I love that. So let's see. Ulysses Lermende says, we are spiritual beings existing in a physical world, not the other way around. And that is true. That's what you were saying earlier, is the spiritual realm that this story is highlighting. We are spiritual beings first, and then physical beings second. So that's an interesting way to sort of remind us of that. I love that. And let's see. Jared Hernandez, who's a wonderful actor, says, I struggle to love actors. And then he says, just kidding. So Cheryl McKay Price, our dear writer and showrunner, we keep talking about, she says, she, meaning you, knew more about the characters by the time she wrote breakdowns than I did writing scripts. That you were such a blessing, Susan. So that's awesome. And Jeanette says the series is
Yeah.
beautifully written, directed, and acted. Jeanette, I'm so glad that you've seen it, and that's wonderful encouragement. I hope the rest of you guys can check it out. Let's see, any more questions I have? Let's see. Okay. Lots of amens and agree with you and love what you're saying. So lots of encouragement that way. Yeah, it's, Carolyn Wong says there's something so intriguing about an actor that owns who they are rather than being what they think you are looking for, right? Isn't that's like the difference?
Well, yeah. There's sort of that peace of mind that a person has who's embraced who they are and what they look like and how they speak and how they relate to other people, that is very, very attractive. And,
Yeah.
you know, the problem with self-doubt and worrying that I'm not this, I'm not that, it's just it's the enemy of living in a role. Because if you have really disappeared into that role the way you need to, and you're really living in that character, unless that character is full of self-doubt,
right,
you're in your own head. You're not living in the role. You're not able to dive off or lift off the moment of that character, because you're so busy thinking about when I should do this expression, or is this coming off okay? So getting to that place of that it goes back to the whole thing: love God, love one another, you love yourself. You got to love yourself.
Yeah.
That's an important component.
Right. And he created us that way. He loves us. And he wants us to be at peace and be content and to love who he created us to be. It's not always easy, but that is God's heart for us, for sure. Yeah.
Right.
So Ellie Mae,
he designed us perfectly. He designed us perfectly for whatever it is that he has for us to do in this life. We're designed perfectly.
Right. Yeah. Amen. Like, we're so grateful, so thankful that is the case, because when you are struggling, that is the comfort in knowing, and the assurance, the promise that's in scripture, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are not just like, oops, didn't know what to do with that one, but we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and gifted uniquely. So yeah, it's not haphazard. God's plan is not haphazard.
No.
Ellie Mae, Louise Smith says, love Denise Gossett in These Stones. What an amazing show. And Brooklyn Whitmer says, so she, Ella Mae, Louise Smith. And Brooklyn says, love how in tune you are with your fellow creative collaborators, Susan. It's really special. It is. I agree with that. Let's see. Any more last little questions? Let me lots of amens and lots of so goods. And Cheryl chimed in and said, we love working with Denise. Adore
Denise Gossett. She was our Holly in episode 2.
Yeah. Grace Covington says, you're preaching, Susan. So
I'm preaching.
In a good way, in a wonderful way. So Thursday is episode 3, and that happens to be the episode that has pieces of Cheryl's real journey, of which you walked through. So I hope you all will seek that out. And again, it's Up Faith and Family, and you can use the discount code STONES30 to get 30% off that first month. And what encouragement could you give these actors? We're kind of coming off what has been a little bit of a difficult year and a slower year for a lot of people, myself included. And I think we can get in our heads a little bit when that happens. So what what can you kind of leave our actors with as far as any sort of encouragement you've learned through the years going through being a creative and going through this process and this journey for yourself?
Well, I would say stay busy while you wait. And this is something that Cheryl has heard before.
Yep.
It's so important. You know, if we can only see that waiting room as an opportunity.
Mm,
You know, I had a friend who had to have cancer treatment. And when she was in the waiting room, she ended up meeting somebody that was important.
mm,
And that it was important that she was supposed to connect with that person. I
mm,
was just reading in Acts that Paul got stuck in one location. And then while he was waiting, you know, to go to the next location, he takes care of all these things that he wouldn't have done otherwise.
mm.
And for actors, I mean, part of it is working your craft, you know,
Mhm.
because there's always something you can do. You can be sharpening your monologue. You can be working scenes out with friends. You can be working on your reel. You can be doing all of
Mhm.
these things so that you are, you know, it's like the 10 virgins and having your oil lamp full so that you are ready when opportunity does present itself.
Yeah.
That your
Yeah.
skills are sharp, you are ready to go.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what I would
Absolutely.
encourage you to do. Just make the most of that time. I know it's
Yep.
hard to wait. Nobody likes that word, but
Right.
it can be the thing that prepares you to be able
Yeah.
to take that next step.
Yeah. It's so true. And it's not a surprise to God, right? This time of waiting that you're going
No.
through. It's not a mystery to God. It's not a surprise to God. He's not up there going, "Oh, I forgot to figure out this person's life. Maybe I should," it's not that at all. There is purpose and growth and experiences in all of it. I just recently a few months ago started coaching one-on-one with actors, and it's something I'd talked about for years but never had the time to be able to do. And this year that's been very slow. Well, the joy of it is I finally had time to work with Diego and make that happen. And what an incredible joy that's been for me. Like God has really, really blessed me through that process. And, it's so I'm thankful for this season to have the time to start that. And I wouldn't have if things had been the way, that they had been as far as busy in time. So I hope each of you guys can know that there are things for you. God has things for you, whether they're tangible things or jobs or experiences, relationships, trying something new, challenging yourself in a new way. It's just a no fail scenario, right? Because you're in standby mode, maybe on the acting or the auditions or the, booking, but you don't have to be on standby mode at everything else. So challenge yourself, try those characters that you don't normally get cast in, just to press and stretch those muscles, and collaborate with a writer or director friend of yours, or someone. You have an iPhone, go shoot scenes, or there's so much you can do just to keep yourself moving. So thanks for that encouragement, Susan. And again, just you guys check out Up Faith and go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that there's a study guide that Cheryl and
thank
I
you.
wrote.
Yes,
Let me
thank
see.
you.
There it is.
Yes.
That goes along with this series that's available to help people. And one of the things that's in it, there were a lot of activations, what we call it, ways
Okay.
that you can use your time to help other people, and
Mm,
you'll get joy out of it yourself when you do it. But it's not always just about feeding into our own lives. These stones' way of life
mm.
is to reach out to other people and help other people. And hopefully this study guide is going to help you figure out some practical ways to do that.
I love that. I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm sorry that I didn't think to bring it up earlier, but I love that. I actually love that challenge of like, if you're in the waiting room, then yeah, how can you serve others? How can we look outside of ourselves? So you and Cheryl wrote this study guide, right? To go along with the series?
Yes. Yeah, we wrote it together. We split up the chapters, and then we put it all together. And then, I looked over hers and she looked over mine, and that's how we do a little back and forth. That's how we worked on the scripts too.
And do they correlate with the specific episodes then? Like each chapter is a different episode? Is that how it works?
They do. And it goes into all the deeper themes and personal application, discussion questions, so the people, an individual can enjoy going through this to get the most out of the series, but also it's set up for groups to do it as a study. So you could, a group could watch an episode and then do the study.
Oh, I love that. What a beautiful way to start conversations, and what a visual media like that is such a good way to engage people and to get people thinking, I love books and that's great too, but being able to watch a story and experience these characters and what they're going through and then deep dive into that. I know that's kind of a similar thing that they do with The Chosen, because they have, the study guides that go along.
Right.
Same kind of principle. It's like, okay, we've shown you one part of this. Now let's dive deeper into that. So I love that you guys did that. Now, where can people find the study guide?
On Amazon. Just go on Amazon and type in These Stones. And if you type in These Stones and McKay, Cheryl's last name on here.
Okay. Awesome.
Roar is harder to spell, so we say McKay, and it'll pop right up.
I love it. Okay, so
the whole idea of this.
Yeah, Diego posted the title of it, and so you guys can look for it there. Study guide title: These Stones, Your Personal Devotional and Group Handbook for Season 1. Cheryl said that she posted the link as well. It's in one of her comments at 7:59, and you can see the show. These Stones streamer is up, faithandfamily.com. Promo code Stones30. So you guys check it out. It's a beautiful series, wonderful acting, wonderful talented cast, and beautiful direction and writing from you and Cheryl. And I'm so privileged to be a part of it, and just so excited to see the stories get out there. So thanks for your expertise, your insights, and just thanks for your heart and your love, and just the way that you approach what can be kind of just a crazy business, but to bring us back to the core truth of it all, and the sort of, I guess, the best place to start. Like you said in the beginning, it's like prayer and trying to understand what God has in the material is. We should approach every day like that, right? What do you have for me today, God? So thanks so much, Cheryl, Susan. I almost said Cheryl. Thanks so much, Susan, for being with us and for sticking with us. And we really, really do appreciate you. And Let's Talk Tuesday family, be in prayer for Susan and Cheryl as they continue to shepherd this series, and we hope that it will find an audience and move people and hopefully grow to more seasons. So thanks for being here, and really appreciate you, Susan.
Love you, Beth.
Yeah, you too. So you guys, it's been a full night tonight. Thanks for sticking it out and for staying a little longer with us tonight. Love you. I hope this has been helpful information, and check out these stones, Up Faith and Family, and then icvm.com. Learn all about that conference. And we will be back next week with something fun and exciting, I'm sure. I don't know what it is yet, but it will be something. So until then, love you guys so much, and have a beautiful, wonderful week. And remember, you guys are fearfully and wonderfully made. Okay. Know that God loves you and we love you. And hope you have a great week. Love you.